Welcome back. So Sasha's actually taking a break because I wanted to get in here to talk to Tom Garrison from Intel about workplace transformation. Now, I've been following this very keenly over the past few years because I am just dying for the time that I have no more wires.
Oh, yes. That is our goal as well.
Excellent, because you can tell me a little bit about what you're doing here at the show.
Well, we have a whole series of innovations that we do. No wires is part of our vision, but also no passwords as well as collaboration capabilities. So on the no wires side, we're all frustrated by when you go into a meeting and you don't have the right dongle to connect to the projector. We've all lived through that. So we've innovated around with a platform to be able to do wireless display. And so you can simply connect with Pro Wide-Eye, which is one way to do this. You can connect wirelessly from your PC to an adapter which is connected to the projector, and you're off and running. The other option we have is a product called Intel Unite, which is another way to do wireless display, which is running on a PC that is dedicated in the conference room. And then you have a whole new set of capabilities. Not only can you wirelessly display, but now people can remotely view the content. They can also have multiple people presenting at the same time. So a lot of exciting stuff around display.
So one of the main topics of feedback that you get back, or I've gotten back about, why do you still use a VGA port, or why are all these things, and it's really frustrating because I have all the latest devices, and then I'm like, I can't connect.
Right.
No,
it's very frustrating. And the thing that people don't realize is also the cost. VGA cable by itself can be very, very expensive, especially when you're talking about the long VGA cables. Secondly, people don't think about the fact that those pins get bent, and so they have to be replaced quite a bit. So from an IT perspective, there's a lot of cost in cables, not just the frustration of the users, but also from an IT perspective. So getting away from cables helps save costs, but it also gives a much better experience for the users.
So we're also seeing a trend in not only enterprise, but really in consumer, where we're starting to see wireless charging become more of a reality. I mean, Starbucks is incredibly aggressive in kind of making this a reality, and airline lounges as well, which I'm incredibly thankful for because
I do
a lot of traveling, and wireless charging is something that, like, once you have it, it's almost impossible to pedal back.
Yeah, the wireless charging is very exciting. So today, the wireless charging solutions are lower power solutions, which is adequate for your phone. But what we're doing at Intel is delivering and really innovating around wireless charging for higher power devices like a PC. And so later this year, you'll see PCs that have the wireless charging capability built into the keyboards, and you will be able to go to your airline lounge and just set down your PC, or be in a conference room that has a desk that is set up for wireless charging. And you don't even have to think about it. You just set it down and it charges.
I take my money right now. Just take it.
I
need it right now. I mean, because I do a lot of traveling, I have spent more money than is rational on chargers.
Well,
everywhere around the world.
It is incredible amount of expense. People lose the chargers.
Yes.
They forget them when they're traveling.
Leave them plugged into the wall.
Exactly. And not only that, but you also have, what we call wall sitters, where people around, you take maybe a hotel lobby or an airport, and people are just sort of parked around the wall trying to find an outlet.
Yeah, sitting on dirty floors all over airports around the world.
And that's just not what people want. They don't want the expense of those adapters, the weight of having to carry them around with you. So being able to wirelessly charge your device is going to be, again, part of the vision. And then the third part of the vision is beyond display and charging is docking as well. So docking, we want to be able to have people sit down at their desk and be able to immediately dock to their larger display, to their keyboard, to their mouse, so they can be even more productive when they're sitting down. And we have this technology available today called WiGig that it enables just that. And also, so not only do you get the user benefit of the docking, but also from an IT perspective, these docks are called open docks. And so the open dock can be used across multiple OEM systems.
Okay.
So IT can deploy one dock in a shared work environment, and then as employee one sits down, they can sit down, connect, work, with the screen and the mouse and the keyboard. When they get up and walk away to go to a meeting, another employee can come in potentially with a different type of OEM system and still use that same dock and still reuse all the equipment. So it saves cost as well.
So how confident are we that this solution in its current iteration, if I invest today, isn't going to suddenly change in a couple of years and then this solution's outdated and my stuff won't work? Because compatibility issues over a few generations is why I'm hearing people aren't kind of keen to jump in, because it's not yet like a proven or like highly deployed standard.
Yeah, all of these are, the wireless display, as an example, is built on the Miracast standard.
Okay.
So when we talk about WiDi or Pro WiDi for business, that is built, it is Miracast standard compliant, and it is just engineered to give you the best possible solution, or best possible experience. So that standard, as it evolves, we will continue to evolve, but it is not a proprietary standard, so that it's not something that is going to go away. Similarly, on docking, that's built on WiGig, and so WiGig standard, again, it'll be around for some time. So I think you can invest with confidence today. It'll give you a solution that you can invest in today, but it'll be around for years.
It's interesting. I've been sitting in a few meetings over the course of CeBIT, which is a very enterprise-focused show. And when you talk to a lot of people who are looking to upgrade their hardware and kind of look at the next steps, one of the interesting things is that consumer products are actually getting so good that enterprise almost wants to kind of filter them in. So we saw a device, or I saw a device yesterday that was the Lenovo Mix 700, but it was business edition. And I'm like, well, what's different about it? They're like, oh, well, nothing. I'm like, what do you mean nothing? But it was that there was just a different level of security on top. There was a few other software packages available, and vPro and all these other kind of solutions from Intel that were integrated. So sometimes I think that we're kind of seeing this blend of consumer into enterprise, where we're getting all the beautiful kind of gems that are easier to deploy into consumer, but we're seeing them kind of arrive into enterprise already.
Yeah, we see. Well, so our strategy has been for years to deliver the best performance, manageability, and security for business. Where we fell short was that the devices that were going into business several years back weren't all that appealing.
Yeah.
And so they were a little bit heavier. Yeah. They just weren't.
They were
all that
rugged,
nice,
but
right?
they weren't beautiful.
Yeah. And so what ended up happening was that users said, "Okay, I've got my work PC, but what about this consumer device? I really like that consumer device. In fact, I would like to use my consumer device at work." And so that was the beginning of this bring your own device trend. But the bring your own device trend was a problem for IT because it added all kinds of cost, lots of complexity, and all the different types of PCs that are trying to be managed but weren't developed and designed to be managed. And so what Intel did was we worked very closely with all our OEM partners to deliver consumer look and feel. So these devices now on the business side are just as nice, and in many cases nicer than consumer devices, but are still built to the same rigors that you expect for a business device. And you don't think about this, but business devices, they need to be designed for things like putting them into your computer bag and stuffing them into an overhead container, in a airplane. If you don't design the device right, it'll split, it'll crack. You'll have a high cost device to fix. Keyboards, they're not designed. Consumer keyboards are not designed for business use. They will wear out very, very quickly. You start losing keys here and there.
The paint comes off.
Exactly, the paint comes off. So business devices are engineered much better than consumer devices, but at the same time, we didn't want to at all compromise on the look and the feel and the overall sensation that you get with the devices. And now our current portfolio of business devices is the largest that we've ever had in Intel's history. Over 200 different unique designs for business platforms and over 100 vPro designs.
Right.
So it's records across the board, and this year's Consumer Electronic Show, we actually had many different devices win Best of Show.
Okay.
That were business devices. So we've really turned the knob around when Now we have business devices winning best of show at consumer shows.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you start to look at some of the device landscape, like what's happening with the Lenovo X1 Carbon with its modularity, like that is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, the fact that you can just snap on a projector, snap on an extra battery, snap on a keyboard, snap on pretty much anything. I mean, the high level of customization that is now available for these business devices, it's actually inspiring to see.
I agree.
To see how you can just make anything possible now.
Right, and we have a saying at Intel that I'm trying to drive across, my group in particular, which is we are trying to deliver the right device for the right job.
Oh, that's
And so we want to make sure that we have devices, and Lenovo is a great partner. They've done just that, and they've got designs that give you all that flexibility, so you can build a device, but then you can customize depending on what you need for the job.
Definitely. So we've touched upon how bringing your own device has kind of transformed workplace, the workplace in terms of hardware. Now, I'm already on board with wireless charging, 100% there.
You're there.
I'm there.
Yep.
Take my money.
Yep.
WiGig is something that I've definitely played around with quite a bit, and the latency issues seem to be like completely instantaneous,
Yep.
right? It's completely instantaneous.
Very high bandwidth.
Very high bandwidth. I mean, it's definitely one of those technologies that feels very reliable, like very, very reliable in any situation that I've used it in. Because I've been playing around with Miracast in the past, and sometimes I'm like, connect TV, connect. I'm really trying to get it to work.
Or you connect and then it drops.
Yeah.
And that's what WiDi for consumer and Pro WiDi is engineered to give you that much better solution, so that you don't get those drops, and you get the audio visual sync,
yes.
So that when the mouth moves, the sound comes out at the right time. So those are things that we've gone those extra steps to deliver the higher level solution with WiDi and Pro WiDi for business.
Yeah, I mean,
you can a better solution.
You can never have that moment where things are just slightly off, because it's very distracting.
Right. Yeah.
And especially in a business context, you end up kind of taking your focus away from anything.
Exactly.
And high definition is really pushing boundaries with 8K.
That's right. So you got amazing video, but in a business setting as well, you want to have you want to be able to manage your meetings in a certain way, and so we have extra capability that's built again on Miracast, but it gives you the ability to give you a higher level of security, so that we can make sure that you're connecting to the right device, because we don't want you connecting to the conference room right next door. We want to make sure that you're connecting to the room that you're in.
Right.
And with these extra manageability features for IT to be able to remotely manage the adapters and the meeting support, it's really tailored for business. That's on the WiDi setting.
So let's talk a little bit about what the meeting of the future looks like.
Okay.
Because this is something that I've been seeing a lot here. I mean, I'm a sucker for the big displays where you can touch them and move everything around, make phone calls, and there just seems to be a lot of option out there right now for how you can kind of pull together different teams, and the way that you can do desktop sharing and screen sharing. So what's your vision of the future right now for that?
Well, in the not too distant future, some of this we can deliver today, but in the not too distant future, you'll walk into a conference room, and the conference room itself will be a participant in the meeting. So when you sit down, you'll be able to obviously connect and be able to display, but you will be able to interface with the PC that's in the room to do things like ask it questions. So you could ask it a question. You could ask for it to dictate the meeting, as an example. So you see voice entering the conference room with we're calling them Unite PCs today. Unite is from Intel Unite.
Yeah.
And so this is a conference room PC that's in the room that today can do wireless display. We'll be adding more and more features, but you can build and purchase a Unite PC, put it in your conference room today, and as these new capabilities come, you can just plug in, say, a video camera and be able to have video capability into that PC, or audio capability as that capability comes in. You don't need to go buy a brand new setup for the conference room. But that's the kind of interface that you'll see. You'll see a lot more of video entering the conference room. You'll see a lot more collaboration. So even today with Unite, you can have multiple people presenting at the same time. So if one person is trying to write a presentation and another person is maybe not even in the room, but maybe somewhere else, that is connected to this meeting, they can be sharing a spreadsheet as an example, and you can get the information from the spreadsheet, put it in the presentation. All of that kind of collaboration can be very seamless, very easy to do.
So what about the use of biometrics in the future? So we have like Windows Hello and this type of thing with your face, and I'm a big fan of Intel's RealSense technology, right? The 3D cameras, and I think that the consumers, it's fun, right? The Muppets and the games and all of this, and dressing up your avatars and having like your face be someone else's face. All this stuff is really, really fun. But when you start to look at the use of the 3D camera in business, where you can instantly take the volume of a box and then be able to know exactly how much you can fill a shipping container like this, right? And just instantaneous. So there's a lot of really cool things that can happen with.
Yeah, I think on the video side, so if you take 3D RealSense as an example, the RealSense camera gives you the ability to do what you said. It's volumetrics. It will allow you to do computational photography, which is a complicated word of basically just saying it will take a measurement.
Yeah.
So you can walk into a room and say, how long is that wall? And you can just use your tablet or your 2-in-1 and be able to measure that wall. So there's some very interesting usage that way. We see that in real estate, a lot of interest. We see that in shipping today. And in the future, some of the other things that you can use are things around like authentication. So when you sit down to your PC, a 3D camera can give you a much more accurate and precise view of your face, which gives it more accuracy about authentication. So that could be one thing. Or background abstraction. So if you're at home and you want to, call a work colleague or something, and you don't want people to see your, what's
messy
behind
kitchen.
you, your messy kitchen, exactly. You can abstract the background. So there's some other uses as well. And we'll see that technology coming in. Again, I think it'll be more focused on particular vertical uses first before it becomes broadly available. And as the prices come down and so forth, then it could be more more broadly used. But we talked about authentication and biometrics. So, face is one, but today, already available, we have what we call Intel Authenticate. We're very excited about this. This is authentication that's built into the hardware of the PC. So it starts with 6th generation Core, and for a business platform that has Core i5 and above, which would include vPro, of course. This capability is built in from day one. And what it allows you to do is, for IT, they can set policies of how do they want to grant access to the PC. So today, you use passwords, username and password. Now, IT can set a policy to say, well, where's your phone? Let's use your phone as a factor. So if you have your phone, say, in your pocket, and most people do, well, we know that this is Tom's phone. We know this is Tom's PC. If the phone is next to the PC, that's one factor. And maybe a fingerprint. So that would be 2 factors. Or we can also provide a PIN with a touchpad or with a mouse. And you can do all of these different factors, and we'll see more and more factors coming, that IT can choose what factors they want to gain access. And then if you're a vPro system, of course, IT can say, if you're in a trusted network, here is a trusted setting, so let's say at Intel for me, maybe Intel IT only will ask for 1 factor of authentication. But if I'm outside of Intel, I'm at a new network, maybe I'm at Starbucks, well, now
let's have a few.
It's going to ask for 2 or 3. Exactly. So it gives you that flexibility. And from a user standpoint, it's a great capability, because from a user standpoint, it doesn't feel like I even have a password anymore. Because all I'm doing is sitting down on my PC, and it'll ask me for my fingerprint. You don't even realize it's talking to your phone. I put my fingerprint in, and I'm instantly in. So users love it because there's no PC, but IT loves it because it's significantly more secure than passwords.
This is one of the things that I've been seeing this year at CeBIT. Is last year everyone's like, well, our data is going to be smart, and I'm like, okay, let's actually see some smart data now. Let's see it. But now, we are seeing it this year, exactly with the example that you've given, just automated intelligence, right? The fact that all the data that is being provided is intelligent in a way that's useful to the consumer. This whole concept of digital transformation, I like that this year when I'm walking around, I'm seeing all of these complicated graphics with people standing at the middle, right? And I think that for a long time, what enterprise was trying to do was never about the people, right? We forgot that it's the people that need to benefit from all of this. And this is a fantastic example of just like seamless.
It has to be easy. That's one of my personal mottos for my team. It has to be easy. If it's not easy, people won't use it. And so building the best technology solution in the world that isn't easy, it will not get used. And I think that's where we've done a great job with Authenticate, making it intuitive, making it something that people can really genuinely use and that IT can provision. Uses all the same tools that they already know, so you don't have to learn new tools.
Right.
And but it's not just about this one Intel Authenticate solution. It really is pervasive. So Unite is an example I talked about before with collaboration capability. You know, one of the great things about that solution is that you just walk into the room and you put in a simple pin and you're connected. It is just seconds. You don't have, there's no complicated anything to make it work. And we're trying to do that over and over. Even vPro, we've been focused on ease of use on that. So making vPro easier to deploy, easier for people to actually get the benefits of vPro. And we've done a tremendous amount of goodness over the last couple of years in making all of these solutions very, very intuitive.
I wanted to circle back on one thing just because I'm very curious about it. This Unite PC that I can build for my conference room that I can talk to. Tell me more. So like what is it built on? Is it like just a little like...
So it's
tell me about this.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. So the PC itself is a small form factor desktop.
Okay.
And so it is for an IT perspective, it looks just like any other PC in the environment, which is important because IT knows how to manage PCs.
Yes.
So this is
especially
just a
desktop.
PC, right? And so these are small form factor desktops. With the new generations of products, these small form factor desktops are so small, they're almost invisible, really. They can be mounted underneath a table. They can be mounted behind a display. So for people that walk into the room, they may not even have any idea where the PC actually is mounted, but it'll be there. So the PC itself will be running Windows, again, can be Windows 7, Windows 8.1, Windows 10.
Right.
And then so again, simple, nothing out of the ordinary. Now we have the Unite software that gets loaded on the hub device itself in the conference room, and then we have a simple client that can be downloaded onto your specific PC.
Okay.
So when you walk into the room for the very, very first time, you will log into a URL and you'll download the client from your IT shop.
Okay.
And it usually takes about 20 seconds. It's a very, very small client device that gets loaded. And then from then on, you just walk in the room. Any other time, you walk in the room, you turn on that little client, and you put in the six digits and hit present, and it's up and running. It's literally 5 seconds.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
So where's the voice intelligence come from?
Well, voice will be coming.
Oh, voice is coming.
Yeah, voice is coming. So voice is something that we're still, obviously working on. We're also looking, as part of the solution, we don't want all of the solution to be coming directly from Intel. We want the industry inventing and delivering this. And so our architecture is extensible. So we want people writing plugins and writing new capabilities that could come from whoever. And so voice could be one of those. We might, be using something like Cortana from Microsoft. Those are kind of capabilities that we come in from the industry, and we just want to leverage that.
That was exactly what I was thinking. Is that different enterprise verticals? Like some can't use Siri, some can't use Cortana, some only use Dragon Natural Speak. I mean, there's a bunch out there that are, it's highly specific, and there's no room for any other.
That's right.
There's no room for anything else.
And the important part is, for some rooms maybe you want to be able to do voice, but in the next room you want to be able to do video.
Right.
And so there you can just buy a camera and plug it in. Remember, this is just a PC.
Right.
It's just the PC, and it gives you so much flexibility to build and customize whatever solution you want at relatively low cost. You can do a very, very simple USB camera for just a few dollars, or you can go up and spend $1,000 on a very high-end camera, and we've had demos of that as well, where there's a high-end camera from a company called Altea, the Panicast, that gives you a 180-degree view of the room in 4K resolution. But the interesting piece is that the remote users, so the remote people into the meeting that are calling in, they have independent control over what they look at. So they can say, I want to look at, somebody walks over the whiteboard and starts drawing on the whiteboard. Well, that person can be looking at the whiteboard, but somebody else says, no, I want to be looking at the decision maker because I'm looking at their body language. And so I want to be looking there. And so people independently can control what's there, but you have such high resolution that now, even if people are writing on the whiteboard or doing whatever they're doing, they are still part and productive in the meeting if you're remote. And that's been our goal. But you can just customize depending on whatever you need.
You're completely right. The concept of 360 video and 180 video, it's becoming a lot more pervasive in everyday life with the people uploading 360 videos to Facebook. Right? we naturally think that it's already here. But really we're just at the very beginning of what's entirely possible, and the resolution is one of the determining factors about how useful 360 video in any kind of like business meeting or any kind of like actual assessment of what's going on in a location, right? So like when people start bringing 360 video in and it's not very good quality, it's not very useful.
So it's not useful. And the interface needs to be intuitive. Back to my earlier point.
Right.
So if it's confusing to your eyes about what are you even looking at or how do I navigate around the room, these are things that are going to inhibit its use. But if you can get into settings where, let's say it's a 180 degree, it's very intuitive, you know what you can see already, and then you just kind of, with a touch screen, you can just kind of pinch and zoom, and it's very, very simple.
Well, Tom, I want to thank you so much for kind of walking me through your vision of the workplace of the future. I'm all in.
I have very much enjoyed it. Thank you.
Excellent. So we're going to take a very quick lunch break because the guys got to eat, and there's some samba going on the show floor that I really want to check out what's happening out there.
It's great. Sounds like a party.
Sounds like a real party. All right. So we'll see you guys in a few minutes after lunch. Stay tuned.